I will do
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please.
Rebecca Chambliss,
Here.
Melissa Dodge,
She is with no
Carlos Harp,
Here.
Cindy Holder,
here.
Mark Kimball,
He will be late as well.
Christera McAlpine Taylor, Gloria Thompson,
Here. Notes, public fundamentals. Yes. Public input is fundamental to the operation of Madison District Public Schools. Our public has an opportunity to speak at every Board of Education meeting. A period of time known as public comment is set aside at each meeting to give parents and other citizens a chance to speak directly to the board about school-related topics. Anyone who wishes to speak to the board must fill out a request form and give it to the board secretary before the meeting begins. Comments limited to 3 minutes. The Board of Education accepts comments made during public comment for anyone or from anyone who follows these guidelines. Public comment is one of the many information sources the board uses before making decisions in the best interest of the children who attend Madison District Public Schools. The board also works with the district staff to address citizens' questions and concerns. Did we receive any requests?
No, ma'am.
All righty.
President,
Administrative report.
President Holder,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Just saying, where do we want it?
I would like to go into closed session pursuant to Section 8C of the Opens Meetings Act to discuss strategy and negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement.
So, moved by Trustee Chambliss, supported by Trustee Thompson. And can we put it at before the facility utilization? So, I don't know, 5-1. Is that okay? Yes? Everybody? Okay. And discussion? No? Roll call vote, please, and this is just to put it on the agenda at 5.1.
Gloria Thompson,
Yes.
Christera McAlpine Taylor,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Carlos Harp,
Yes.
Rebecca Chambliss.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Next up, consent agenda. All matters under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the Board of Education action items portion of the agenda. This consent agenda includes approval for the minutes of regular meeting, May 5th, 2025, approval of the check register for payment as submitted in the amount of $45,616.28, approval of the personnel report submitted by Human Resources on May 19th, 2025. I need a maker and support, please.
President,
Trustee Thompson,
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as approved.
thank you. Support,
I'll support.
Trustee Chambliss. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Rebecca Chambliss,
Yes.
Carlos Harp,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Christera McAlpine Taylor,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Melissa is here now.
Oh, so Melissa Dodge? Thank you.
Yes. Next up is the administration report.
Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so good evening. Everyone should have a yellow folder. I want to start there before we go to the actual report. If you open your folder on the left side, there is a colorful page that says Oakland County School Board Association. So this is one of the, I think it's the last banquet in June of the school year. So if you're interested in attending, can you just let me know by leaving your flyer? I'll register you as well as I will add it to your calendar. So it's right here, trustee, the yellow folder first. Yep, right there. So that's that. Also, there is some information that you guys need to look at on your own regarding the bylaws to the Oakland County School Board Association. I plan to have this on the agenda for June 3rd. So basically what they want to do is for you to look at the proposed recommended amendments to their bylaws. So if you look, there's 2 pages that are stapled. The one in the colorful one that says the 2025 recommended amendments to the resolution. So those are in there. And then there's a copy of the bylaws. So if you can take the next 2 weeks to look at those, I will have it on the agenda for June 3rd to say if we're going to adopt the resolution or not. Any questions about that? Does anyone want these electronically? I thought paper, when you're reading bylaws, sometimes it's easier.
I think you sent them.
I think you should have received an email from the school board,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I did not send them. But everyone should have them.
I know I
right?
got them.
Okay, cool. So that's that, and then let me know if you want to attend the dinner. Usually I attend with you guys, and it's kind of fun. Just a way to see each other outside of these microphones. And you get to meet other cool school board members too, so it's fun. Now, back to the superintendent's report, the paper. The right side of the folder we're going to discuss during our study session.
Okay.
So leave the right side alone. Sorry, not trying to be bossy. Okay, so the left side of the folder basically talks about what's been going on. I know you guys know that we have like this huge problem with losing 5th grade students to the middle school. So on May 12th, we have a 4/5 split in the elementary school. And what we want to do is kind of build an honors program. So May 12th, I hosted a morning session and an afternoon session to parents. So these parents were like specially invited by staff members who had kids that were performing higher in their classrooms. And the principal was there just to kind of explain to them what Wilkinson Middle School has to offer. One of the big things that we do now is that we let our 8th graders come to the high school and they get an Algebra 1 credit. So most 8th graders just take pre-algebra, but we try to make sure that we get that honors track going. So that's one of the things that we're doing to try to make sure it moves a little faster and we keep our 8th graders our 6th graders at the middle school. One of the concerns that the parents had about conversations, they asked, we talked about like fights and behavior inside of the middle school. And so the middle school principal explained to them that there was only one altercation inside the school. However, we was transparent. A lot of the fights happened at that park right up the street. So like last week, there was a huge fight, but it was only one of our kids, and it was a kid from another school that was fighting our kids. So that was their major concern. Another concern they had was staffing. There was one vacancy there, but it didn't last the whole year. So I think that's one of the things that we have to basically just put a better image out there for Wilkinson Middle School, because I feel like they get a bad image. So hopefully we'll get the kids from the elementary school to come to the middle school, and they're actually going to come over there. I think in June they're going to do a tour, and they're going to have an opportunity to eat lunch at the middle school. The elementary students complain that the lunch isn't as good in elementary as it is at middle school, but they don't understand the little ones. You got to be consistent. We can't do chicken tenders and fries any other way but chicken tenders and fries. So we're excited for that. Also in the athletic department, our boys baseball team coached by Eric Rogers, They won the MAC bronze division, so that means that makes us look really well. I think our sports is really turning around. We've had a huge problem with consistent coaches, but I think now we are on the road. And also, we have our track and field. I do want to highlight them, who's coached by Ryan Coleman. We have our relay team advancing to state championship on May 31st. So we are so excited about that. We do have a dilemma. It's the day of graduation, and we have 2 seniors. So if these seniors decide, I may ask you guys to be available the 30th and possibly hold a graduation for them to get them to walk across the stage before. So we're going to talk to the families, and if you're available, if it happens, I'll put it in my newsletter. We just need you here for probably like 30 minutes on the 30th, so they won't miss out this opportunity with competing against in state championships, because that's big for us. And then on the back, I just have to take this time to give Travis and Andrea a huge shout out, and I don't think I can thank them enough. From designing STEM labs to helping design uniforms to getting equipment, Travis was able to, can I say this? Oh, Travis was able to obtain $12,000 in monitors to replace in the district. And without Travis and Andrea, like, I think we would not have half of the technology that we have. So I just want to give them a huge shout out and say thank you. And even like now, I don't know any tech integrator that's here at the board meetings consistently. So we really appreciate you, Travis. And Andrea. And last but not least is a huge reminder that graduation is Saturday, May 31st at 10:30 a.m.
It's 11, so I'm
No,
glad
it's 11 a.m., but I'm just saying be there
be
at
here
10:30.
at 10:30.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It is 11. Can I
Thank
ask
you.
who needs a gown, a black gown? Does any?
Carlos, do you have one?
I have to double check. I'll check.
Can you just send me an email if you need one, and I'll have one steamed for you? So I just put 10:30, and we meet at the high school, or you can meet at the campus. If you want to get the gown the night before, if you already have yours, we usually march in like right outside the field. So whatever's best for you. But I say park in the high school and park behind on this back road because there's going to be a lot of parents there. So. Oh, and the carnival is coming today. Well, Thursday. You see all the carny trucks. So looking forward to seeing you guys at the carnival this weekend. And we have science night on Thursday. So if you ride past, it's going to be a lot going on in Madison. We have the Memorial Day Parade on Saturday. There's a huge event right after the parade where the band plays songs with the Lanford Band, and we come together in front of the high school. So if you guys are free Saturday morning, please come out and look at our babies showcase their work. That's it for me. Any questions? Okay.
So next up is the second read and the approval of PO 5136. First, we need a motion and support.
Or did you guys have any feedback,
Well,
President Hunt?
once we got the motion, I was going to
Okay.
ask for any. The adoption, PO 5136, establishes guidelines for student use of personal communication devices such as cell phones, smartwatches, and tablets during school hours and school-sponsored activities. It outlines when and how devices may be used, defines prohibited use, and includes potential disciplinary action. Policy is intended to support a focused learning environment while allowing for appropriate and responsible use of technology. Approval is recommended to ensure consistent expectations across all school buildings and to align with current district needs and legal requirements. Madison District Public School Board of Education adopt PO 5136, personal communication devices. Maker and support,
Madam
please.
President,
Trustee Thompson.
I'd like to make a motion that the Madison District Public Schools 5136 personal communication devices.
Thank you. Support.
I'll support.
Chambliss. Discussion,
President Holder?
trustee Chambliss.
Ms. Perry, it says on page 12, that this policy agrees that students shall have no expectation of confidentiality with respect to their use of PCDs on school premises and property. Is that only if they're caught in the class using it, or like sneaking into one of the bad areas, like that are prohibited, or is that?
You just brought it up to me today. It's right here. Page 12. Students shall have
At the
no
very bottom.
expectations of- I don't know what your question is. I'm sorry.
My question is, if a student is taking photos at a basketball game or standing in the hall during lunch using their phone, is the only time a teacher would ever touch their phone and go through it or look in it, like if they were using it in the middle of class? Or could they be taken at any point?
Well, teachers don't usually go through kids.
I mean, administrators, whoever.
They don't go, I mean, we can't go through a phone unless they unlock the phone. And I think that, to me, I think that pertains to if they're recording something, like if they have recorded like some type of crime or something like that, I think that's what that relates to, that we can have the cops seize their devices, but we don't have a right to. I mean, we can ask, and if they decide to, they can, but we can't technically go through a phone unless we're given permission to.
This also, on page 13, it talks about like law enforcement and if there's possible. Actually on anything that. They said no, they could get a warrant for it, like it's.
I'm trying to find the other part that led me to there, but. Absolutely.
Add a statement? We did add a language on the top of page 12, the reference to Chromebooks, because that can or cannot be looked as a personal communication device because it's assigned to you, but because it's district property, it's not really a personal. But we put that statement in there. We harvested it from another district.
Are you able to, on Chromebooks, do you guys have like a firewall, so if somebody looks something up, some either guns or sexually explicit things, that it gets alerted?
Yeah, we have Go Guardian, and Travis actually ran a report and alerted the principals of what was being searched, and the principals actually had a conversation with the parents to let them know, like, hey, your child is searching this, and it's not appropriate.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan.
Anybody else? No? Oh, you're good? All right, roll call vote, please.
Rebecca Chambliss,
Yes.
Melissa Dodge,
Yes.
Carlos Hope, Harp,
Yep.
sorry, Cindy
Yes.
Holder. Sarah McAlpine Taylor,
Yes.
Gloria Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
To do. We had a request to move the closed session to after the sinking fund.
Yes.
Is everybody okay
So
with
it
that?
would be 5D, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I just need a motion to move it to 5D.
President Holder,
Trustee Chambliss,
I make a motion to move the closed session that is marked at 5-1 to be moved to 5D.
support. Thompson, supports. Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Melissa Dodge,
Yes.
Rebecca Chambliss,
Yes.
Carlos Harp,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Christara McAlpine Taylor.
Yes.
Gloria Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry, maybe I should wait. Okay. So the first item on the study session is the facility study. So we got a couple questions in the Google form. So I kind of put something together and we can have a conversation and I can get your feedback and come back with additional information if needed.
I don't know if there was anybody else that had submitted. I just know hearing from, the board members casually, these were kind of some of their concerns. So I just forward them, and then if anybody else.
Okay, so basically, I kind of put this chart together based off of questions that you guys asked, and I just made it based off of multiple questions. So the first column tells you how many kids are enrolled, but before we talk about that, I do want to, up top, it gives you a scenario of classroom analysis. So per the MEA contract, these are the number of students that we can have in each classroom. So for K through 3, 26 students, grades 4 through 6, 29 students, and grades 7 through 12, 29 plus 2, so 31. So that's how many we can have. So in ECC, we have a total number of 118 students enrolled. There are 4 empty classrooms, and one of the questions was, based off of the empty classrooms, how many students can we add? And so if we're thinking about if we have 4 empty classrooms at ECC, let's say we have 4 kindergarten classrooms, then we can add 104 students to that building if we want to do full-size kindergarten classrooms. There are 7 teachers. 3 are three are GSRP, which they can only have 15 kids. 3 are kindergarten. 1 is special self-contained, where the kids come in the AM and PM. And then the other teacher is early on. Well, she goes into the field and work with individual students. There are 6 paras, 3 for GSRP, 3 for East kindergarten. There's 1 full-time custodial staff. Is that right? No, it's 2. Oh, it's 1. And what we've been doing is just having people go over there and cover the shifts for overtime. There's 2.2 social workers, and so these are staff members in this column who don't have schedules. So these are staff members who provide support to students, but they don't have a full load all the time. So there's 2.2. The 0.2 is because we share the social worker with MES. 1 day a week, they go from MES to ECC.
Question, I'm so sorry. So just for ECC, there's 2.2 social workers?
No, it's not just social workers. There's also like a speech pathologist that comes over there. But for ECC, there's a 0.2 social worker. So she spent 1 day a week at ECC.
Oh, so you're putting all ancillary in that. I see. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
There's 1 kitchen staff, and then the total amount in salaries is $752,568. And if you look, there's 1 more page on the back that we can talk about ECC. It's not stapled to this book packet. It's like a little sheet. One of the questions was that you guys wanted to know what was the cost in salaries as well as the operation costs. So for ECC, it's just this little sheet.
Yeah, I saw it.
We average about $800,000 for that building per year. Then MES, that's our largest school. We have 398 students in there. We have 0 classrooms, but not because all the classrooms are filled. Like our our English language developer para has her own classroom. So some of these classrooms are just used by ancillary staff that they use to support one-on-one. There's 32 teachers. Paras, there are 9 paraprofessionals, 8 are special education, and 1 is an English language developer. So we don't have any paras like in the classroom consistently unless it's for self-contained. There are 4 custodial staff, so it's kind of like 2 in the morning, 2 midday. There's 4.8 ancillary staff, so that's your social worker that we share. We have a math interventionist, an ELA coach, a math coach. So that's what those are. We have 9 kitchen staff because that building also cooks food for ECC, which is why ECC only has 1 staff member. So we transport the food to ECC.
And 3 of them are just lunches.
Yeah, 3 are lunch aides. Thank you. So total cost and salaries for MES is $2.1 million. And when you add the operation cost for MES, it's $2.2 million. WMS, we have 168 students. We have 4 classrooms that could potentially be filled. And if you use the numbers based off of the teacher contract, then we can have 87 students added. There are 11 teachers, 2 pairs. One is for English language developers, and the other one is for special ed. We have 2 custodial staff, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. We have a social worker and a behavior interventionist who the behavior interventionist does go over to the high school 1 or 2 days a week to help out. There's 2 kitchen staff. They do an amazing job, not that everyone else doesn't. And total spend $1,078,146 on salaries. And when you add the operation costs, that building we spend $1.2 million on. It's on the, Trustee, it's the last page. Okay, cool. MHS, 237 students. Oof. So there is one hall, it's called H Hall, that we don't use. That's where the science labs were. So when we received the bond, when we were planning for the bond project, prices were so high that we had to eliminate the scope of the work. So in order to get a lot done, we was like, what can we do to make this work? So we decided when we did the bond not to remodel the H hallway. It saved us money. And so that hallway is not remodeled. It was never used when I was principal. We just use it for like video game clubs, so on and so forth. So there's actually 5 classes that could be potentially used. We just have to remodel them and update them. They're science labs. And to update a science lab, it is really, really, really expensive.
I know, only because I went there, I know the most southern part of that hall was science. The northern part of that hall was home structures. And then after that, it was social study and language. So the ones in the north end of that hall aren't being used either?
I don't know. I need room numbers. I don't.
Yeah, I'm just
So
saying,
north-
if you walk from the office down to H Hall.
So none of those classes are used. It's actually cut off for kids. Kids can't even go that way because it became a problem with kids were skipping down that hallway. They would take the long way to get to the lunchroom, and it was a blind spot that we couldn't manage. So there's doors there, it's cut off. They can't go that way. Teachers, 2 paras. One is for self-contained classroom, and then the
Part-time.
part-time for self-contained too.
For resources.
Resource, yep. Then we have 3 custodial staff, 1 in the morning, 2 at night. We have 1 social worker. We do not have a counselor. We have a career and college ready administrator who is the assistant principal over there, and she handles the counseling for anything pertaining to scheduling and stuff like that for the middle school and the high school. We don't have a counselor, but she does an amazing job meeting with students, making sure they're on track to graduate. There's 5 kitchen staff over there who are all in the kitchen. That is one of the larger lunches that we run because we give the high school different options. They have like the same thing on one side, whether it's like pizza, hamburgers, chicken sandwiches, and then on the other side, they do different things for the kids. And they make salads, so. Total cost for that building and salaries is 1.3, and then $254,000 in operation costs, so the grand total for that building is 1.5 million. Then if you turn to the back, the number of kids enrolled, GSRP, we have 30. That goes down the list. And to look at that. I do want to point out that some of these numbers include, because I just pulled a report, our kids that are enrolled in VLAC. That's our Virtual Learning Academy. It's a small percentage, maybe less than 1%, but we get some type of funding for those kids.
Can you explain what that is? I'm
Do you know
hearing-
what percentage we get for VLAC students? So we
Are
have,
you talking, did you say GSRP?
no, VLAC.
It's a virtual learning.
It's not on here. So if a kid, let's say in 6th grade says, and the parent says, I don't want my kid to come to school, I want them to be in Virtual Learning Academy. We don't have a virtual learning program, so we send them to the county virtual learning program. So we have to pay them, but we still keep a percentage of the FTE. I don't know exactly what that is, but I'll let you know. But it's better than sending them to like Michigan Virtual where we don't get anything. At least if we send them to VLAC, we keeping them in the county and we're actually getting some type of money from them. But I'll let you know.
28 kids at VLAC.
Thanks. And then another question was on enrollment trends. So basically, this is a bar graph that shows how enrollment has changed over the last 6 years. So ECC, ECSC, those are our kids that are birth to 3 that we go out and we visit and we try to provide services to them based off of referrals through the county, Oakland schools. Then we have ECC GSRP program that is for 4-year-olds, and this that program you only can have 15 kids max in a class. So that program is kind of expensive, but we do get money from the county for that. Then we have our kindergarten enrollment numbers. This year we did cut a classroom, so there was 4 teachers at first when we started the school year. We pushed it down to 3, and the new teacher was her first year teaching, but she was willing to go to the elementary school and teach a class. So we were so grateful for her. So we were able to cut that. Then MES, that is 1 through 5. Those are our enrollment numbers. If you can see, we're kind of like going back to where we were a couple years ago before COVID. WMS, it seems like they have always struggled with getting or keeping kids. I think that's just, we have to change the perception of who we are and what we're providing to our kids. And then if you see Madison High School, those numbers have declined and finally went up this school year. And then some of the things that I don't know if I really answered all the way is how many students could each building take in addition to current count. I didn't know if you were asking how many can they take in based off of count and staffing, or was that a question based off of number of empty classrooms?
I was asking, like, how many was each building meant to hold? How many could we potentially fill it with? And then how many would we fill it with currently at the current staff?
So that is like a really in-depth study analysis. I don't have that, and we did reach out to Plant Moran, and they're gonna give us a quote, and hopefully we can use some bond or sinking fund money to figure that out.
Okay, because I went online and I was looking at like Ballotopedia and everything, and it kind of tells you breakdowns of each district. And Cindy, you might know better, but didn't the high school at some point have 1,200 students or more? Okay, I was just curious how many each building was able to hold, because there had been the discussion of merging buildings. So I was just curious if that was even a thing.
And then the number of students anticipated income needed to have the district meet its current financial needs. That is based off of the financial need with the staff number, the number of staff we have now. Was that what that's referencing? So I would have to get back to you on that.
I was just asking, like, how many students would we need to be able to cover all the costs without being in any form of deficit?
Okay. So that could be easy to figure out. What's our negative amount of spending, Ebony? 1 million. So if we take that and divide that by 9,000, would be what? And I do want to point out that the salaries does not include benefits.
It's not loaded.
It's not loaded. How many? 106 students is how many we would need to break even this year. Well, we would have needed. Yes. And so when we say salaries are not loaded as a district, maybe Ebony can jump in and explain, we have to pay taxes on every employee and we have to pay insurance, like medical insurance, and that varies depending on what plan. It also varies depending on what retirement services that they are in, because some people are in like a higher pension system than others. Can you?
Some are for family and some are individual, so that cost is different.
So in terms of how many new students to fund and anticipated employee raise, are you talking about just a teacher raise? Because
Like a step? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, I just meant like, if you were to say we need X, like it doesn't have to be an exact number, but if you were like, we want to be able to do in the contracts that we're going to do in the next 12 months, if we want to be able to give them a reasonable and fair raise, we need X amount of students.
I think we would need the 1 million to cut us even and to build our fund balance to what? To 2 million. Is that above 5%? I would say at least 200 kids.
200 kids?
Because in order to give raises, we need to have at least a 7% fund balance.
But on the other side of that, if we get 200 kids, we're going to have to hire more staff.
Right, I was thinking that.
So there's a point where, obviously, if we did, let's even say 25 students per each staff member we would have to hire, we would still be obviously ahead, but it might be a little bit larger number because we would have to hire some staff.
Right.
And so, and that will also impact the next one, how many new students to go to a general fund. We would need new students and staff members. So I think that's kind of hard to predict, but we can try to.
I chose that number specifically just based off of the budget that we were given. I don't think it was Ebony. I want to say it might have been Steve. Remember, he said a certain percent where he thought like we would projected be, and then it changed. That's why I chose that number.
There's some other things that I don't know if I've really addressed, but I tried to. But if you guys have any questions or any feedback, I can definitely figure it out. In terms of career tech programs, we basically just send our kids to Oakland schools, their CASA and OTEC, where it's kind of hard for us because we don't have that much funding. So I'm going to give not a career program, but let's say we have a student that's interested in Japanese. Well, if we have 3 students interested in Japanese, we can't offer that course because it's not cost effective for 3 students. But instead, we send them to CASA or OTEC to take different trades or different classes that they are interested in. And then here were some of the questions that were sent to me. And I don't know if you guys want to have pros and cons conversation about this information, about filling students with more filling buildings with more students, or how do you guys want to take the conversation?
Just when we talk about, I'm looking here, history of ECC and what the actual deal is. Do we own the building? I've done a bunch of investigative work because I've been asked, and my kids went there in the 80s, and we do own the building, the land under the building, but not much beyond where the library is. The rest of it is city. I did out to the city to confirm that we are not paying any kind of lease on. They have not gotten back to me yet to approach Melissa Marsh's secretary. And I did ask Ebony if we are paying out a lease, and it was not she'd ever been familiar with. So as far as the finances go, it's not a check that she's aware of that we have cut.
I have a question. If ECC stops being used as a school, if we were to use it for something else, do we lose access to part of that area?
If it is used for anything but a school,
Right.
the rest of the land would go officially, because the city owns it anyway, but we would not take care of it. The land would revert back to a full official city park. And
Okay.
then we would not take care of that land. The building and the land, whatever.
But we can sell ECC.
Sure, we could if we wanted to.
Okay.
Can I add one more thing in here to clear some things up? One of the questions was, can we add trucking certification at the high school? We can definitely look into it. We actually did that a couple years ago because we were sending our bus drivers to get trained somewhere else. And I said, well, why can't we just get one of our bus drivers trained to train the trainer? So we do have that. I just will have to look into seeing how many. But once again, in order to have that class, you have to have a certified teacher with a CTE cert. And usually those teachers I would just have to look into that.
Right. I do know Mr. Kimball has been asking about that. And he had also said, even before it kind of became a thing on the west part of the country, trucking companies are looking for reliable ship that could be out there. Really train and maybe have additional hours for adults that aren't in school. But go ahead, Melissa.
Do you know offhand if any of our current teachers are certified to teach like child development courses? If we were to look at doing something like moving some of the ECC courses as a career tech program into the high school, allowing like preschool teaching to be a career tech program for some of our high school teachers or high school students, they probably need to take a child development course as well to kind of lower the ratios in the classrooms by having high school students in there, and then potentially expanding it to like a Monday through Friday program in that sense to be a little more competitive with some of the area daycares.
So we have a staff member that is certified in early childhood development, like that's her degree, and she's working towards her teaching cert right now. So,
But like, would she be able to teach high school
see,
students?
that's the part I don't know, because the degree is in early childhood development, which typically is like, 2 to 4-ish.
Right.
And so I
Different
don't know.
endorsement.
It probably would be more of a CTE program, and those are harder to find teachers unless you find somebody that another district is maybe looking for, and you could share them and say maybe they come over here halftime and they go there halftime. Because it's hard, we would not have a full schedule for that person.
Right,
So
no,
the
that's why I
other
was
thing.
wondering about anyone currently that has any sort of certification or endorsement that would allow them to do that.
Not many, and a lot
'Cause
of those certifications,
Because a lot of the current programs that are in existence, they do have those lower L or early childhood endorsed teachers. Some of them, if they have like a K-12 rider on their certificates, are able to then
yeah,
teach that, but it's finding that,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I just lost what I was gonna say. Forget, I'll come back.
It'll come back.
I also did hear, our admin building used to be at Wilkinson, right on the other side of the separate doors and everything like that. So, I know Mr. Kimball had said, that is it possible that we might have to think about moving them back to that area? I don't even know what's there right now.
Metro.
Is that whole wing is in Metro? Okay. Even though I've sat in there, I didn't realize it was that far, honest. Okay.
And then we do have, another question was 5-day care for GSRP. So we know GSRP is only 4 days a week. We actually do offer that. And we only have 2 parents signed up. So the problem is that we have to change our mindset. A lot of people are saying, hey, this is what we used to do. This is what we used to have way more resources. We used to have a better image in the community. We used to have people who support Madison. So the only way we can change our image is by changing who we are and keep showing up and just keep doing great things like sending kids to state championship, having these courageous conversations like the trustees did on Saturday with people. Like, we have to change our image, and we can't keep functioning with this is what we used to do. Because they're not, and as much as I want to provide GSRP with 5 days, it's financially hurting us for 2 students. Like, we have to, but we can't take 10 steps forward and then go 2 steps back by saying we need to offer this or being negative about the decisions that we make. We have to come up with some, and we're going to come up with some cuts. Like, we're going to have to change how we think. And I tell teachers all the time, well, we used to have this, we used to have this budget. Well, we can't have it anymore because we don't have the kids.
Right.
The other thing that my question is, we're working so hard marketing and enrolling new kids, and really every year we have been enrolling 100 kids, but unfortunately we've had kids that left. So if there's the thought of closing a building, well then, so our marketing is done. Are we not trying to enroll kids? Because then we're going to be at a point where we're busting at the seams. So are we satisfied with our status right now? I'm not. I would much rather have more kids and get this district back to where it was and focus on that instead of focusing on what can we close.
Because then you're going to have MEA, and then it's going to be, well, why do we have large class sizes? And then that's going to be a thing that, well, we used to be known for having small class sizes. We can't be known for that anymore because small class sizes is what got us to this point right now.
Problem is, at this moment, we're not able to sustain it for the amount of students that we have, right? 200 students, adding 200 students is a lot. That is a ton, and you guys did so much last year, right? And we were able to increase it by 60, right? How long can we be in a deficit? And I think those are real questions that we need to answer. And when I hear that, Madison High School at one time had 1,000 students, that's amazing. But that means that a lot more can fit into what's the building currently, right? Because right now it has, please forgive me, I don't have that number, 237, right? So that's a big difference. And I think what we're saying is, like, can we investigate? Not that we're trying to be stopping growth. We, of course, want to expand growth. And I think that we would be remiss not to look at some other districts that have combined buildings in some way to reduce costs and are thriving. Just because we're talking about, like, hey, is there some way, I'm not talking about reducing staff or anything, right? Because we have such amazing staff and they're with our students. That's not what we're talking about. We're like keeping some buildings open or maintaining them. For instance, ECC, I want to say, the cost to upgrade it is massive, right? How can we better use that money? I'm not saying ECC is the way to go. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying,
for example.
an example, a hypothetical. I think we need to open the discussion, not to stop the development of adding students. How amazing would it be if all of the buildings were bursting? That is incredible. Right now, we're not there. And it's, go ahead.
Yeah, and to infuse funds into being able to upgrade the science labs, being able to offer more STEM opportunities, being able to pay the staff what we want to pay them, and then attracting, the teachers that aren't using this as a stepping stone district, but using this as a career district and saying, this is where I want to spend my career. I love this district. And, I think we have to look at it as an investment in that. And when we take care of our people, because right now, that's what's so important is we have to, part of building, I think, the district's reputation is investing in our people, because education and our school district is an operation of people. So, we have to look at fiscally what we can do to enhance the learning experience for our students. And the first thing is, who's in front of them? And how do we attract the best educators for them too?
Is there a list or maybe like a database of license certifications that Stafford has? Because maybe if someone has an obscure certification or skill out there, that could be a hidden gem. It could be that next opportunity for us. So we might already have something within, right?
Yeah, we do have, it's a part of HR. Pam keeps a list and it has all the certifications. I'll give you an example. We used it this year at Wilkinson Middle School. The principal was complaining that the kid needed some interventions and we needed to hire interventionists. So I pulled the master schedule. I looked at all the certifications and I said, no, you don't need interventionists. You need teachers to teach remedial classes. This person has this cert. You're going to combine these two classes and make this an intervention class. So we do have that and we try to use that throughout the year. And I think one of the things we are planning to do next year is have a more detailed look of the schedule. So after count day, okay, what classes can we close? And we may have to lay off teachers in October if we don't have the numbers. If we only have 2 kindergarten classrooms or 3 GSRP classrooms and we only have 30 kids, we're going to have to cut. We're going to have to say, hey, we have to let go. And that's just what we have to do. I mean, we have to think about, and I don't want to, but I also don't want teachers to work in a district of fear where they feel like, oh, I'm going to be cut because we don't have enrollment. But I also have to drive home that we have to make financial decisions that's best for the district and the students. And it may not be financially best for you to have 26 kids in your classroom, but per the contract, you can have 26 kids in your classroom. And we've been getting a lot of pushback that that's way too many. And I said, well, compared to other districts that are doing, when I was in Detroit, the class sizes was 39. So, but we can't have it all. We can't have small classrooms and want raises and want this and want that. It's just, it can't happen.
And that's why we need to look at facilities as well, to reduce our overall spending per year. Because think about that. Just, what was the ECC's 800,000 or something like that? I mean,
We would move the staff over,
Well,
but yeah.
but that's for the building operating costs. Okay, it's 47. But that's year after year after year, right? So I don't know what building, I don't even know if we'll get to, I just think we need to open the conversation to say, is this reasonable to look and see what our options are to reduce costs?
Could we possibly put this back on the next agenda to give people to digest this and to come up with some thoughts, and then we can put it back on if that's okay, on the agenda for June 3rd meeting, and we can have another courageous conversation about it?
In the meantime, I have had requests, to maybe have an opportunity to tour the buildings. We have,
I'm on it.
you guys would have to obviously say.
I'm coming tomorrow.
What
It's
date?
already set up.
Oh, okay.
If you-
Carlos, are you set up? Okay, Carlos maybe isn't.
I am not either.
Yeah, so you just send me an email, and I set up, you tell me what works best for you, and we make it happen.
Okay, and I also know you all three need some FaceTime with Ebony. Even after we get done here, I'm sure you will have questions, and she's the gal that has the answers. So I think it's always kind of been, you need a few minutes with the financial director. And that's our job, so. All righty.
So just let me know, especially I know, trustee Casera, you work and day.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to at least June 6th.
Oh, that's fine. Or
Yeah.
you can also summer discovery, if you guys want to take a tour of the summer discovery program and see what's going on there as well.
When does that extra start?
June 23rd, from 8:30 to, oh, you're going to China.
We'll see if I have time before I go to
Just
China, yeah.
Send me a text message.
Okay.
And you guys I'll figure it out.
Okay.
But we do have one tomorrow. Okay. Anything else about facilities? Was this what you guys needed? Is
Yeah,
it a starting point?
thank you.
Okay.
That was, yeah, a lot of great information. I
Okay,
really
cool.
appreciate it.
Thanks. Go on?
Yep.
Oh, keep us moving? Okay.
Keep going.
The next item on the agenda is the superintendent evaluation tool. So I know we have 3 board members that have not been trained, and I did reach out because I wanted to know if we needed to have you guys professionally trained, or can we just train the trainer? And as long as majority are trained on it, then we can continue, because my evaluation is coming up in June. So I wanted to share with you guys not only my evaluation tool, but also the goals that we created. This is kind of unusual. Most superintendents get evaluated in January. And I guess because of how I came on, my evaluation has always been in June. But we did talk about moving it to January, so maybe we can consider that in January. Because in most contracts, which mine needs to be renewed this year, superintendents are given the respect of letting them know in January if you guys are going to make another decision and go a different route. So we can have that conversation later. But attached are the goals. And so what usually happens is in June, I come to you guys with a portfolio and I show you how all my goals are reached. And so my evaluation is based off of this framework from Collins and Blaha. And it's basically going to go right through the different components. If you turn to page 2, I think it's 2. There are a total of 7 components, and we basically go through each component. Component 1 is visionary leader. And what I do is I create my goals around these components. I come to you with my portfolio to show you how I became or how I supported my goals, and then you guys give me a rating on it. So the first one is visionary leadership. It gives you what it means, and it also gives you examples of what can impact my rating, things that I can produce to impact my rating. Guys, a couple minutes to look at that, or do you guys want me to just review and then we can have a Q&A so you can digest it?
It's the guys.
I already read it.
Carlos, Melissa, Costera, do you have a preference as to how we go through this? No, I don't.
Review's fine.
Which one?
Quick review.
Quick review? Okay. Component 2 is policy and governance. That's just basically making sure that I keep our policy, we follow everything. It tells you, once again, what are some examples for me to be effective, highly effective. The rating system has changed this year, so there's only 3.
The final rating. So the rubrics will have 4 possible 4-point rubric, but the final evaluation rubric now has 3. So it's very confusing.
So once we go through each one, and we'll talk about how we're going to do that, Pam has a little scale. I didn't include it. Component 3 is instructional leadership. So what I do as an instructional leader for the district, it's a 4-point scale. Component 4 is communication and community relations. Component 5 is organizational management. Professionalism and ethics. And 7 is optional. So what we do is, as I present my portfolio to you guys give me a rating of 4, 3, 2, 1. We add them up, and then we divide by 7 or 6. And then there's a scale that Pam has been working with MDE. If my average is like a 3.5, or I'll give it to
Yeah,
you.
3.5.
3.5 to 4, then is effective. 2.5 to 3 something is like needing
Needing support or
support.
developing or needing support.
So it's like, it mimics a teacher evaluation? Okay.
So basically, that's how it works. And then, yeah. I think I do have a PowerPoint. I'm gonna try to find it. I just didn't, if you guys want me to have someone come out and train you guys, we can. I just didn't want to spend the money, sorry.
I think the biggest thing is how it will look when she's presenting it to you, is she'll go through each of the different domains, and she'll present all of her artifacts that would support that specific section. And then you guys, in the back, you'll see there's the rating sheet, this overall rating. So as she's going through, you guys will select where you're placing her for each one of those domains, and they can be different. They don't all have to be the same. And then when you're done, I think is it like secret? Like you pass it in and somebody tallies, one person tallies them all. But I think just kind of visually understanding how that works, because she's gonna present a lot of information for each component.
And you started because you sent us something that had,
So I share with you the goals that we created together. So usually what happens in the beginning of the year, I create goals, I present them to the board, and you guys give me feedback on the goals. Trustee Hart, you have a question?
I'm good, just doing the internal training. I don't see a need to have someone else come out to do it, but I would like some kind of training on that though.
Okay, do you want me to try to get you the PowerPoint?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. The training is very this is component 1. Highly effective means to do this. So,
Or
Yeah.
I said we might be able to get it online, just do it self-taught online, so I might look at that too before next meeting.
There's a video Crystal and I watched.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could just send that on,
has to be
Rebecca.
from the company that did it, because we watched it.
we were inside the media center, remember when we
Right.
did it?
And
But he didn't
gave it to
record
us.
it. We just had it. Oh, it is recorded.
Yeah.
Because we did it on a Saturday at a study session and we had to go live. But I don't think you'll be able to hear it. I'll try to look it up.
Well, yeah, but their site itself might just have it as well.
Okay, I'll try to look up the previous board meeting. And if you have any questions, I did send this in an email too. I think I sent it in my newsletter.
Yes.
Can I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Last but not least was a bond update and sinking fund update. So basically, the bond work is going to get started as soon as the first day of school the last day of school, where we're going to replace the flooring at the high school. Right now, we have the moving company. They gave the high school bins. They're going to pack their things up. So the high school is going to be shut down for the summer. Everything is going to be at Madison Elementary School. So in terms of the sinking fund work, year 1, we are going to focus on concrete and asphalt repair. If you notice around the schools, especially at Wilkinson Middle School, the concrete going into the building is really, really bad.
So is it going into the board office?
So it's going into the board office. Yeah, we have to be last, sorry. So we're gonna focus on that. Now, another issue we had was the parking lot. That doesn't mean that we're gonna be able to afford the parking lot. So it's just really gonna be the entrance into the middle school. And some of the ceiling and coat and striping at the elementary school, if you guys have ever went through their parking lot, the lines are kind of like faded, so we want to make sure we get that fixed as well. And then the high school really needs some work too, especially in the back area. So for year 1, that's what Plant Moran is proposing that we work on. Nothing has been approved. We are in the process of getting bids. As soon as the bids are looked at, Plant Moran has a scoring system where we use when we open up bids. We'll share with you guys and they'll come present to you guys what we need to have done.
What high school?
The fencing by the football field, the fence is coming off. I'll give you a minute to look at this and answer any questions or try to answer any questions.
Time for Wilkinson? What would that be?
I'm not for sure what that is. I would have to ask them.
Really into that building somehow, some way.
So one of the things we did discuss is that I feel like staff makes the building look so empty. Parking on the street, we're gonna have to probably get some no parking on the street signs, because if you're riding down John R., that parking lot is empty. So I think if we encourage staff, we already told them to stop parking in the front, front parking lot? Yeah, because when parents come, they're sitting in the fire lane with their hazards on. That's not safe. So we just really need to push our staff to use that parking lot. And I think one of the ways we're gonna do that, I'm just gonna have to ask the city, can we put no parking signs out there?
The Wilkinson parking lot was really nicely lit. I can't tell you what night I came by. And it was pretty dark. And it has made a great difference to even, it looks safer.
So we did receive 31A funds, and Ricky Malik, the facility manager, did a great job with lighting up the parking lot. And so we know that we have to apply for different funds because we can't afford everything. And one of the things that we're gonna do is harden the vestibule at Wilkinson. We can't afford to knock a wall down, but in my daughter's school, they just have like a glass wall up that forces you to go into the office. So we're just gonna put like a glass wall up that's gonna curve. You can't even see that. You can see the kids, but you cannot touch the kids, because right now, if you go in Wilkinson, they buzz their door open. No one is there to say, go straight to the office. Right. So we're gonna harden the vestibule because we can't afford it. So it's just gonna be simple glass wall that's gonna curve right into the office. That's using some funding.
And it could even be a half wall.
I'm so sorry. Can you explain that again? So when you walk in the Wilkinson doors, when you get buzzed in, there'll be like a big glass wall so you can like look down the hallway towards the gym and everything?
So what's gonna happen is when you walk in Wilkinson, you can only go in through that right door.
Okay, yeah.
So same as my daughter's school. Instead of going through that right door, you're gonna go through the left door.
Okay.
And when you go through that left door, it's gonna be a little glass curved wall. They're gonna change the offices. They're gonna put you right there. All parents are gonna go into that first little room. That's gonna be the parent office where they can help you.
Okay.
And then where will the students go if they need help at the office?
They're gonna go back to the main office. Yeah. It's just gonna push them right here into that first room. It's the nurse's room now, but they're gonna turn that into a parent room.
Okay. Anybody else?
As things happen, whenever we meet, usually we meet with Plant Moran, I would say like once a month, and they give us updates on where we are with different projects. We'll definitely bring it to you. I just didn't think they needed to come out tonight.
Actually, I asked you after the last meeting, when I was like, when is all this stuff starting? We approved it, and I don't see anything moving.
Got to get the kids out first.
All righty. If that is the case, I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Trustee
Dodge.
Dodge? You were the maker?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'll second.
Who second?
Mi-
Chris
Councilman
Dara.
Taylor.
Rebecca Chambliss,
Yes.
Melissa Dodge,
Yes.
Carlos Harp,
Yes.
Cindy Holder,
Yes.
Christara McAlpine Taylor,
Yes.
and Gloria Thompson. Motion passed.
Point of adjournment. I need a motion and support, please.
President Holder,
Trustee Chambliss.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Support. Trustee Thompson, support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? There we go. Good night. It is 8:10. Oh, wait, we came back in at 8:09.